Sorry about that. I actually started before I actually switched scenes here and turned on my mic. But anyways, all I did was just I said new day. Didn't get into another session last night, but now we pick up. I think I need to write the blurb for Underhill Secrets of Goblin Town. And I might go ahead and just let ChatGPT write this one because yesterday took far too long for was essentially kind of almost a throwaway text there. So, and plus it's going to do it to sort of match the one I did for Daventry, the guide to Daventry. Although, maybe I'll tweak it so it sounds more like me or it sounds more like what I want without actually, having to come up with it by itself. Slightly more mysterious. Venture beneath the mountains, discover the winding tunnels of Goblin Town. This account, the traveler known only as Underhill, describes hidden passages, goblin strongholds, and secret ways that run through the deep places of the world. A curious guide for those brave enough to explore below. That's probably more the tone we want, though. Whereas the Guide to Daventry might be kind of this kindly retelling, this kind of nostalgic look at his adventures. This is more like I'll teach you how to escape with your life kind of thing. Goblin Town, a maze of tunnels. A sensible traveler, the mysterious wanderer uphill Underhill claims to have mapped its passages, cataloged its goblins, and escaped with the tail intact. Discover secret tunnels. Option 2 might work well for your scene because it subtly suggests secret passages and hidden routes, makes rolling and just feel logical. I can also make it sound more like something the builder himself might have written, which could make the Underhill reference land even better for players to recognize it. I have to think. So have I been silent this whole dang time? Dang. Um, okay, my bad. Whatever. I don't know if I just like if I had it on and I muted it, or if I never turned it on, or what. So first part of the stream, I guess, is silent. It's okay. I don't know. I don't know if there's that many people. Okay, so Rumble has got to be me. YouTube says 0 because I'm not actually running the actual video link, but as if a a random user came up and watched my stream. So that's the reason it says 0. The reason Rumble says 1 is because I have to actually have that open in order to use the chat there. To be able to actually use the chat in Rumble, because Rumble Studio does not let you chat in the chat room. So I have to actually open a window, a separate tab, where my Rumble video is playing, and then I can pop out that chat for Social Stream Ninja. Now, Kick and Twitch both have one each, and see some here. Uh, Hopefully, Twitch and Kick viewers are legit viewers, and if you are, thanks, and apologies for not having any audio. Okay, so if you're watching, which I don't know, whatever. Uh, Hopefully that somebody doesn't start watching the stream later on the VOD and go, oh, there's no sound, oh, and like turn it off. At the very least, hopefully somebody would look at that and go, oh, well, maybe if I jump it up a little bit, maybe it'll be a little further in. Okay, anyways, so I had ChatGPT come up with the Underhill Secrets of Goblin Town blurb. Just kind of basically based on what I wanted, kind of, even though I didn't actually write it myself. This one, the guide to get Daventry, I actually wrote myself based on some things, and then I had it tweak it until I got something short enough and the right tone and everything. Anyways, that being said, let's say what I was saying earlier. That maybe you only watched and didn't hear because I didn't have my mic on. Okay, so essentially, here's the deal. All right, I'm working on chapter 11. And what day is it today? Today is Wednesday, March 11th. Now, if I get chapter 11 done today, and I work on chapter 12 tomorrow, and I get chapter 12 done tomorrow, then I would have finished chapter 12 on Thursday, March 12th. Now, if I've got those done, and I work on chapter 13, guess what day it is? It's the 13th. In fact, it's Friday the 13th. So, uh, this could be a good sign or a bad sign, or maybe not a sign, but I'm just saying, uh, I didn't really realize that until I started just thinking, kind of go, wait, it's the 11th. How many days till Friday? What's Friday? What's the date? Friday? Oh, it's Friday the 13th. So, and I'm working on chapters 11, 12, and 13. I'm like, whoa. So I'm gonna take it right now as a good sign, as a sign that I'm gonna be able to finish all 3 chapters by the end of Friday. So we're gonna try that. We're gonna try it. We're gonna kick it in high gear. And I know I'm wasting time right now, and so let's get this done. Oh, and so the other thing that I was saying, it was the uh, the guide to Daventry here. Um, okay. Um, so instead of listing them as events, like I have the separate sentences where they're events. They do this and they do this and they do this. I'm gonna put the blurb in here as it exists here, and actually I'm gonna do this in the text. I'm gonna do it in text editor. I'm gonna take both of these and copy them. Copy, paste. That's weird. Uh, All through the eyes of David's most daring hero, King Graham. Okay, that's good. Okay, what's the deal? Oh, it's because this is not the right apostrophe, and I don't know how it does that like that, but it does sometimes. The character, I guess, must be a completely different character. I mean, it's still an apostrophe, but it's like some extended character or something. Anyways, and I'm gonna just do these as is. Okay, so it'll be like, after he thumbs through, he realizes that this is this uh even though it's similar, even though it's has nothing, it has nothing to. Okay. Anyways, let's just do this. Uh, looking. Rowan reads the back cover to King Graham's Guide to Daventry. And I'll just there. And we're just gonna copy this. Copy. And paste. And I guess I'll put a space here. Um, Thumbing through it, he realizes there's nothing that's going to help him here. It one if you check out one to check out actually here's the Goblin Town. Okay. Under Hills Secrets Goblin Town. Hit 2 to check out Romeo and Juliet. Okay, like this. Okay. So let's check the doors. Secrets of Goblin Town, right? That's fine. And then 2 is Romeo and Juliet. Okay. That works. Okay, now let's go ahead and we're going to copy this. And we're going to actually paste it in the other Guide to Daventry. Virtually the same text here. And this is just because, here, let's go ahead and, I'll have to tweak it though. Reads back cover. Oh, okay. So we're just gonna swap these. Wait a second. No. Yeah, hit 1. Hit 1 to check out Romeo and Juliet because that's the only thing you can do there at that one. Okay. So those are the same. That's fine. Now we're gonna go here. And assuming that I didn't change it, I'm going to paste. No, that's not it. Okay. Let's go to this one. Install, copy. And then let's go to this guy. Now I'm just doing this to format, okay? So Daventry one. What is Romeo and Juliet? I think. Okay, let's that's not the guide to Daventry, but I gotta look at this first. Romeo and Juliet is one, choice one, and guide to Daventry is two. Okay. So let's open this up. Let's go ahead and pull this out. Let's go over here. And to keep the chapter short, the puzzle, quote unquote puzzles, is actually just going to be spelled out in that final page when he goes to the Romeo and Juliet. I'm just going to do all the things that he goes through to actually solve the puzzle. So just so I don't have too many, I already have too many pages anyways, but um, this should limit it down a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna hit paste. We're gonna do the same thing, colon, and then enter. He realizes that nothing's going to help him here. That's actually fine. Then what we want to do though is we want to hit this, and this is 1, and this is 2, and this is check out Ingram's guide to Daventry. Okay, which is okay. And actually, I need to copy that, so let's select all, copy, and go to Secrets of Goblin Town here. I'm going to paste it. What did you check out Romeo and Juliet? Okay. So we almost pretty much have this done there. Now, this one, it's not going to be too tricky, but... Oh, no, done that one. This one. Okay, so 0 to quit. Hit 1 to continue. Okay, so this one is, let's actually hit the OK here. This one is after he's gone through while in there. So I guess I better make sure that each of these that go down to that actually say he goes through. Now I'm gonna also just mention the house in the middle in passing, just because I don't want to get it too descriptive, and we're not doing any puzzles in the little house, although later on I might decide to go ahead and add that and expand it, but we kind of, in a way, don't have the room to do it here, so, okay. Rolling, takes a quick look at Romeo and Juliet and notices the spine has an odd uh, has an odd shape to it. Ooh. Piquing his interest a bit more, he pulls this mysterious book off the shelf when a small scrap of paper falls at his feet. Take that piquing interest a bit more off. He pulls this mysterious book off the shelf when a small scrap of paper falls at his feet. Now this is where I have to actually go into the text and remember exactly what I said inside the text. And okay, I have to see if I got the paper. Okay, so all of this is a lot of text, which is fine for the narrative version, but we're gonna restore this book. The paper is a note to one's from Ellen's mom. Um, Explaining his grandfather we'll say his grandmother was a no. Uh, his grandfather left a note, left a poem in the front cover. For his grandmother. The poem reads, yeah, it looks like it's going to be super long. Okay. The poem reads, and I'm going to put the exact poem. Includes a cryptic poem. I can just say it like that. The note. Yeah. Includes a cryptic poem. of the poem. A tick poem. The book for his grandmother. Poem reads. Nope. Poem reads what? The book points away to the empty seat, like falling like an arrow made. The spine is the key. Copy. Paste. Okay. Now, Owen also notices an indentation in the bookshelf and turns and inserts the book spine first, opening a secret door. After going through a long passage, Roland gets to a little home. That his grandfather built for his grandmother. I know this doesn't really emphasize the importance of Romeo and Juliet, but and it's part of the backstory. But well, I mean, I guess I'll try to rectify that the uh, in the narrative pass. After learning a bit about his past, about his mom's past, he takes another passage and ends up in a grotto. Where he can see in the grotto in the gnome kingdom. Okay, I guess that's good enough. That's probably okay right now. Would have liked it to have been shorter, whatever, more pages or something. I don't know. But that's good. That's good enough for that. Okay, so I finished this path. We'll say I've actually finished the. Uh, so now I've finished the Lover's Passage path. Means you finalize library book interaction settled. Well, I can start with the abandoned hall because it's mostly worked out. Let me pull up my notes and we'll figure out where to put some decision points in. Quick reminder for kinds of spots in the work well. Flavor agency choices from early design. Many places misplacement. Uh, okay, so let me pull up the notes from the abandoned hall. Okay. Three entrances. Historical section, that's the Smuggler's Gate, the Myths and Legends section, so. Okay. Tied to Roland's personal story, which is Lover's Passage, Abandoned Dwarven Hall, Incidental Path, and the Deeper Mines, though it's not planned route. Hollis hastily sealed off years ago, leaving rough. Left over from experiment by relevant, but still many present assets in the path's primarily the player experiences. Um, okay. Let's. Follows the hallway. Control C. There we go. Control V. Uh, Copy. Control V. Sure. My Juliet. These are the notes I wrote down. First off, let me know when you're done reading them. Obviously, almost instantaneously, but just try to wait until you acknowledge it. Rather the grays, hastily constructed dwarven wall, block chamber. wall likely covers a large iron door. Dwarves sealed it quickly but still smoothly. Lore hit earlier myths and legends. Books hint about an incident, runaway machine. Clues reveal. um, yeah, I'm sleepy like always. Okay. Let me size this into a linear path first. Kind of like I did the rest of the game itself. A series of events, steps that I could roughly equate to story beats for the purposes of determining these decision point locations. Okay, I'm just doing this just in case I have to close my eyes and stuff. I don't want it to look like I'm sleeping, even though that's probably what I'm doing. And no, I'm not gonna fall asleep or whatever. It's just okay. So now I didn't turn the microphone off because I'm not gone. I'm not actually gonna fall asleep. I'm gonna rest my eyes a little bit. Actually, I could just do it with. I don't have to have the big cover on there, but I don't know. Uh, I'll remove the cover again after a little bit. So I have to come up with a series of events. I mean, I already have most of them. What's gonna happen? He's gonna go into the myths and legends section. He's There's gonna be the urban legends of the Luminar. Might be yeah, it might be interesting. I don't know if I want to do. Maybe I'll present like two or three books and have them like kind of breeze through them and saying that this urban legend one is kind of interesting because there isn't going to be now it's an urban legend, so it's not like it's scientific, but um, let's see. Let me think for a second. Okay. He's gonna read through these. Actually, maybe you should just pick up the one book, so I can keep it simple. I had 7 books over there, but Hmm. I could do some titles about urban myths and legends of now urban myths and legends can be anything from the dwarf mines in Gnome Kingdom to everywhere in Enchanted Lands. So this is like legends and myths, okay? The urban legend about the untold horror that lives off an abandoned hallway, hastily sealed off hallway, is the actual thing he's going to look at now. But instead of doing a decoy thing where I have multiple books that to choose from, I'm not going to do it that way. So I'm gonna create a few titles. He'll see the titles there. He'll look at and say, Um, it'll say he thumbs through a few of them, except uh, he keeps thumbing through them for a few minutes until he comes upon Urban Legends of Luminar, to a an interesting story that involves the untold horror from beyond the hallway, or whatever. And then that's the thing that describes the hallway. So I might think of a few more titles for the other books, but he's not gonna really. It's just gonna be a list of books. It's not gonna be like the Foreign Realm section. So I'll kind of do it that ways. Okay, so let's see something for a second. Okay. Roland goes to the urban legends and myths section. Um, let's see, Roland goes to the urban legends and myths section. Hold on. Brain fart today. That's my whole day. My whole day is brain fart day. Goes okay. So he goes to urban myth sections. Uh, he sees a few books that look interesting, and we'll just kind of list them here. Uh, Actually, it's gonna be the legends in this section, not urban legend. It'll say urban legends the book though. Of the Luminar. What else? Legends and myths. Legends and myths. Okay, so let me think. What are some other things that I could do that just screams legend or myth or something of that nature? Um, I see. Vampires, fact or oop, fact or fiction. Let's see. What else can we do? Something that hints at Max because he was here before. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Now, technically, actually, it might would fit into history. Eh, I'm not sure how to handle that. I was going to list a book title about the great magic mirror heist in the legends and myths section. However, uh, this is something that uh, I put as part of Barty King of the Gnomes backstory, and it's referenced in a fake magazine interview for the Enchanted Villain Monthly, uh, which is apparently, which is supposed to be a, what do they call that? A circular? Anyways, a magazine. Talks about villainy in Enchanted Lands once a month. So I set up the villain profiles as if they were interviews by EVM. Barty mentions the great magic mirror heist, but no details are given. I'm not sure if this should not be in the historical section or not. Is explicitly tied to Barty's backstory and frames a villainous anecdote. It makes sense to keep it in the lore fun section rather than the historical section. Practical history, secret tunnels, smuggling routes, events that help Roland figure out the paths of the mines, things that are directly used for contextually tied to gameplay. Myths and legends, foreign realms, perfect for flavor, character backstory, and Easter eggs. Great Magic Mirror heist material adds depth to the world where Barty's persona, but doesn't need to give Roland any clues. This way, the players who read every book get the fun of the known villain, but it won't confuse historical clues. Uh, Now, I'm not doing blurbs this time, partly for sake of time and partly because uh, this path should feel a bit different, and I'm not going to make choice of books a decision point. He's going to see a few titles and then pick up Urban Legends of the Luminar, where he'll read about the unfinished hallway and the terror, the unknown terror from beyond the wall. But I am coming up with a few titles because it will still display the titles. Book selection. Flavor text to make the library feel real and rolling. Just grab the one that matters. Ribbon Legends of the Luminar. You can still display the titles, give section depth, and let the player feel like they're browsing without making a gameplay choice. Now, in the full-fledged text adventure, I may opt to give every book some content for the player to read, but for the sake of this game, it doesn't really work when I do that. And if I did the same as the Lover's Passage, it would feel the same. Exactly. In this case, titles alone are enough to make the library feel rich. Roland only needs the path forward to have him skim a few other concealing flavor without bloating. So, yeah, just wondering if the Great Magic Mirror Heist belongs in Myths and Legends. As far as any players go, they might not even hear about the heist except through this page. From a player's perspective, basically flavor world building. Fun hide the party's villainy and larger history. It's not crystal gameplay. Enough to hint at the backstory. Okay. And I'm not just thinking in terms of clues, but just as at the library in general. Historicity, historicity, historicity. Okay, historicity. Okay. And legend might overlap, which is why I wasn't sure. The library specs just the fantasy world. Historicity and legend often blur together. Books labeled as myths might refer to real events in history, make full exaggeration for your purpose. Historic section focuses on things that directly Smuggler's Gate. Oh. Okay. Okay, well, I'm not trying to force a decision to put it back in the historical section, but I'm looking at this purely as though, you know, what if it was real? what kinds of things would you put in what sections in a library? The historic section literally has Dwarven and Enchanted and history, which is why the Smuggler's Gate is there, because it's actual history, actual Dwarven history. The magic mirror heist could be true, but you don't know. Hence, it's called an urban legend. And actually, I don't know if I know the exact definition of urban legend, but define urban legend. An apocryphal story involving incidents of recent past, often including elements of humor that spreads quickly and is popularly believed to be true. That many people believe to be true. So, income from moral standards reflect prejudices or be a way to make sense of societal anxieties. Were often circulated orally at gatherings and around campfire. They can be spread to any media. Okay. Not usually what urban legends or even myths are. They may be rooted in a historical event and an actual historical event, or the story may be passed around so many times that people believe it contrary to the evidence. I before E, except after C. Or something that rhymes. I don't know. I forget the whole thing. So I suppose because no one knows if it's true, it still belongs as an urban legend. The distinction isn't about whether the events actually happened, it's about how the material is treated. Historical section, things like documented, verifiable, widely accepted as factual genealogies, is grounded in fact, even in fantastical myths and legends, urban legends, stories that are recounted, debated, sensationalized. The truth may be obscured, exaggerated, or unknown, like the Great Magic Mirror heist. Even if it was real, it's treated as folklore or rumor because people don't know for sure. That way, the library feels authentic, and the player intuitively understands that some things are facts, some are hearsay, and some might be stories passed down for entertainment or warning. So yes, placing the heist in the urban legends myths section is both logically consistent and narratively satisfying. Respects in-world classification without forcing it to be into a fact section, and that's really what I was trying to get at. Okay, so let me continue on with this. Urban legend loop, great magic mirror, nice. Um, you know, I didn't think about it too, because the thing is, if you take this path, you're not going to be taking the other path. However, I can always put. Oh, I just thought of something. Yeah, that might work. I just thought of something. Now, you play the other paths, you won't be seeing this. Okay, and also, if you play this, you won't be able to use any information on the other paths because this goes directly into the thing. But I could put a book there about um, Roland's maternal grandparents. And their story. It's not anything that can help the player, at least in this form, but it would indicate it would provide a bit more backstory. Banner Hall is more about exploration. Adding a book about Roland's could give the player a taste of personal history without impacting gameplay. Players who read it get a deeper sense of Roland's family history. It makes the library feel richer. It's another title that exists in the world, but showing the library is layered. Choose to read it or skip it, but it doesn't gate progression, which keeps the linear path. Um, Probably just a title. However, if anyone played all three paths, I don't expect anyone to replay this multiple times, at least in this form. But just, but if they did, um, they would get a sense about it, especially if they chose the abandoned hall first and then did the lover's passage after. It might even help be a small hint. The secret life. It's not. It's not gonna say that. It's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be. All sort of the Dwarven equivalent of Juliet. But I have to figure out a name that evokes that. It won't say Roland's paternal grandparents. So what does star-crossed mean anyways? Let's define that. What does star-crossed mean? Opposed by fate, ill-fated. Originally mean the pairings being thwarted by a malign star, that the stars are working against the relationship. Stems from astrological belief that position of the stars rule over people's fates, best known from the play Romeo and Juliet by the Elizabethan playwright William Shakespeare. This pairing is often said to be doomed from the start. Something like lost lovers. Something with the dwarf and the gnome, a forbidden romance. I was actually thinking of that already. Hearts Between Halls, not bad. It's a little obscure, but Love Unseen in the Mines. Actually, I might make that a little bit longer. I like for minutes one. I might extend it a little bit so it's more like the dwarf and the gnome. Um, of dwarf and gnome forbidden romance. I was gonna say something else though instead of a forbidden romance. Say something else than that. Uh, mm, the dwarf and the gnome. The dwarf and the gnome. Oh, a forbidden tale of romance. Mm. I might, instead of a short tale of romance, I a forbidden tale star-crossed Cast Lovers being at Wednesday, although that's a little long for a title. Door from the Gnome, A Tale of Star-Crossed Lovers. Forbidden Star-Crossed Romance. Okay, I think I'll go with that. Sounds good enough to me. I guess I don't know if I capitalize this. Okay. I think I want the title, but I'll think of that here in a second. Okay, Urban Legends of the Luminar, which is where we actually find our one main story, Vampires, Fact or Fiction, The Great Magic Mirror Heist, The Dwarf of the Gnome, A Tale of Star-Crossed Lovers. What else? Science of Magic. Are there any? And somehow I'm thinking of Terry Pratchett's Discworld novels, and don't get me wrong, I've never actually read them. I actually do want to read them at some point, but I've never actually read them. But I've watched a few of the movies, and I have this thing about the science of magic, basically, which is basically like basically a mechanics for magic in my game. So I have explanations of how it works, right? So it sounds more like science, but I want to make sure that I'm not copying somebody else's book title, you know. The book was called Science Magic. Titles. Any sort, fiction, non-fiction, etc. Laundry files, boundary side. So nothing, nothing with the Discworld novels, right? Science of Discworld. That's not it. It's a okay. Well, I'm coming up with a fictional book title in my game, and the idea is that when it comes to magic in my game, I usually have an explanation for how it works, i.e., the science of magic. For instance, to open a portal, one must be in contact with Quicksilver, magical mineral metal, or and has to have an intent to go somewhere, usually voiced by some words, while holding onto the Quicksilver. It's not Mercury. Not Mercury. Okay. Well, holding on to the Quicksilver. I just not leave that in there. And a villain has found a way to open a portal that doesn't require holding onto Quicksilver or voicing an intent to go somewhere. His device tunes into the each realm has a unique frequency. You could almost call it an electromagnetic signature. But since this is just a fictional story, we can just say it's a frequency. So he has a device that can tune into a frequency and generate the required magical power to open a portal. So even though it's not real, it's sort of like there's a science to it. Sort of like electricity, which seems like magic. We can operate lights and heat and all kinds of things. Send signals wirelessly, and that would have been considered black magic in medieval times. So I wanted to entitle a book The Science of Magic. Oh, Swords of Magic not as fancy as science. What? Oh, okay. Okay, well. So it's a real book then. So I probably can't use that title. It's a real book, then I probably can't use that title. Huh. Nonfiction. Okay. Shoot. Um, I was going to use the science of magic, but there's supposed a real book with that title. Plus, I don't know if it fits into myths and legends. Anyway, uh, no thanks. I'll figure it out. Um, we got a myth, something that isn't necessarily would necessarily be considered be like a legend, right? Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Sunny nexus between worlds. Okay. Here are my tiles. Um, the Sunny Nexus is a thing that I had originally in the original brochure for the Enchanted Lands Resort, but I haven't really referred to it anywhere else, and it's not a big part of the story. Enchanted Lands is supposed to sit in the sunny nexus between worlds, but that can be more of a myth, or whether or not that actually exists. Anyways, break time. I gotta go. Okay. All right. So time's up for part one, and I want to thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching part one, and I'll see you in about an hour.